All right. Thank you all for joining us today and welcome. It's always wonderful to see so many familiar faces. Today, we're going to be talking about everything CalFresh and how you can best support those that you're already providing service to kind of start their own CalFresh journey. We will be recording this presentation and sharing that recording and the slide deck with everyone afterwards so that you can reference it later on. And as you would expect with the agency learning webinar, we have a number of our agency partners here. So thank you all for joining. We also have some lovely attendees from the CalFresh Alliance. So thank you guys all for joining us for this training opportunity. And we will now get to the agenda. So we're going to start with a brief introduction of our presenter today, and she's going to go over things like CalFresh, what the application process looks like, what those benefits are, how you guys can help support CalFresh at your pantries, your meal sites, and then at the end, we're also going to have a question and answer session. Given the topics, we understand that there's going to be a lot of questions throughout the presentation. Feel free to just add those to the chat. We're going to actually have a few check-in points throughout the presentation, so we'll be able to get to those in a timely manner. If there's anything that we don't get to during the presentation, though, we will have a chance to circle back to everything at the end during that question and answer portion. And so with that, I get to introduce the amazing Vanessa Rodriguez. So Vanessa has been with the SLO Food Bank for 1 year. She's been helping promote CalFresh outreach within SLO County. She is a Cal Poly alum, so very local, and she has a degree in interdisciplinary studies with an emphasis in health and society. She also has some personal experience as a CalFresh recipient, making her a very well-rounded expert in everything CalFresh. And so without further ado, take it away, Vanessa.
Hi all. Not sure if my mute is off. I lost control of my Teams part, so only seeing the slides on my end, but if y'all can hear me, I would hope to get a yes.
Yes.
Good.
Awesome.
Crisp and
Well,
clear.
Awesome. So thank you all for being here. Like Susie said, my name is Vanessa Rodriguez. I'm the CalFresh Outreach Manager. I have been at the SLO Food Bank for a year now and just absorbing all the information that I possibly can about CalFresh. So I'm super excited to share that information with you guys. As Susie also stated, I myself was a recipient of CalFresh throughout my time at Cal Poly. I utilized CalFresh from the time that I was a sophomore, and even when I graduated during the time that I was in between jobs, I utilized CalFresh. It was an amazing program. It's near and dear to my heart, and so I love to share it. So let's get on with our presentation. So the real reason we're here, what is CalFresh? So CalFresh is California's implementation of the Federal Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP. It is your monthly CalFresh benefits are issued through an EBT card or also your electronic benefit transfer card. It can be used to purchase groceries at most grocery stores, some local farmers markets, and participating online retailers. So it's often also referred to as food stamps. Though we are long from the days of physical food stamps, it is no longer it is no longer physical food stamps, but rather a EBT card that is like a debit card that can be used at all of the participating stores and local farmers markets and online retailers that accept it. So why is CalFresh important in SLO County? SLO County is currently the second lowest ranked county in California for CalFresh enrollment, with 47.6% of those eligible for CalFresh being enrolled, meaning that almost half of those who are eligible are missing out on these resources. It also prioritizes charitable food resources for those in need. So what that means is clients who are already enrolled in CalFresh aren't having to utilize food pantries and food distributions as much, though they do supplement. It allows our service providers to increase capacity to help out those who may not qualify for CalFresh. CalFresh also empowers you to be able to buy your own groceries and make more choices, which who doesn't love more choices? But it also gives you the option of if you need a certain food or whatever works best for you, it allows you to have that. And lastly, it brings federal dollars to SLO County, fueling our local economic growth. So this is done by spending your benefits locally and supporting our local businesses and agriculture. So we have our first CalFresh check-in. A pantry guest is asking for a specific dietary option that we don't have. How can CalFresh help? CalFresh allows for clients to have choice in foods that they purchase. By using CalFresh in pantries, CalFresh recipients can get the most out of your food options that work best for them and their families, whether this be due to dietary needs, quantity amounts, or just the option for more choice. And so eligibility, who qualifies? So US citizens and legal residents, young, elderly, disabled, single individuals, families, and students, and households that meet the income guidelines. To be very transparent, this presentation is focused on the general population of individuals who qualify for CalFresh. If you do have any questions regarding student qualifications, I highly, highly, highly recommend that you reach out to the Cal Poly CalFresh team. They have done an amazing job with the Cal Poly students and encouraging students to apply. I myself utilized their resources when I was a student. They've done an amazing job. So if you would like to have any more information on how you can help any clients who are students, reach out to them. And their website is calfreshcalpoly.org. And some eligibility misconceptions. So CalFresh is an entitlement program. Basically what this means is the program expands and contracts in perspective to need. So the more people who need it, the more benefits are available. And the vice versa, the less people who need it, the less benefits. But that doesn't mean that if you need benefits, there aren't benefits for you. If you need benefits and you qualify, you have the right to benefits. Additionally, there's no wait list, and you don't have to fear that you're taking benefits from someone else. Like I stated, if you need benefits and you qualify, you will get benefits. And so also CalFresh participation does not factor into public charge determination. So the definition of public charge is someone who is primarily dependent on the government for subsistence. And additionally, a family member's participation in CalFresh program does not factor into the determination of public charge. So if a non-citizen has a family member who is enrolled in CalFresh and receiving, that will not reflect negatively on them. And you can be eligible for CalFresh and enrolled in other assistance programs like Social Security, Supplemental Security Income, Disability, Medi-Cal, or WIC. So CalFresh check-in. A pantry guest is interested in CalFresh but concerned because they're a non-citizen. How can we help them? If at least one member of your household is a U.S. citizen or legal resident, they may qualify. Plus, non-citizen parents can apply on behalf of their children who are citizens. And it's really important to ensure guests that CalFresh won't impact their immigration status and just to really encourage them to reach out to their local DSS office if they have any questions. So before you apply, you need to figure out who is in your household. So what's a household? A household is defined as a group of individuals who live together, purchase, and prepare meals together a majority of the time. A household can be a single person, a family, or non-relative individuals living together. So you also can have more than one household that lives under the same address. James, Margaret, and their daughter Julie, they would be a household of 3. Versus to the right, we have some housemates who are Harper, Adam, and Rachel. So if Harper, Adam, and Rachel purchase and prepare meals together, they would be a household of 3. However, if they didn't purchase and prepare meals together, they could all be a singular household, 3 separate households, all living under the same address. And so a CalFresh check-in, a pantry guest is currently unhoused and unsure if they can apply for CalFresh because they don't have a home address. Can they apply? The answer is yes. Anyone can apply for CalFresh without having a physical home address. A home address is not required to apply or receive benefits, although a mailing address must be provided. This could be through general delivery, a PO box, or a shelter address like 40 Prado. Clients can also sign up for electronic benefit notice or electronic notices if they have access to the internet, a phone, or a computer. And so household income guidelines, eligibility is based on your gross monthly income. And depending on how many people are in your household, this is how you determine where you would fall on the chart to the right. And your gross monthly income is which would include your income from work, income from self-employment, or monetary benefits like veteran benefits, unemployment, SSI, SSP, Social Security, child support, alimony, etc. Clients should really disclose any money that they receive from any source to their caseworker, as they'll determine if it's considered countable income or not. And to qualify, all households need to meet the gross and the net income guidelines. And the net income guidelines are used to determine how much you receive in benefits. I will like to note that households that have at least one member who is 60 years or older or has a disability do not have to meet the gross monthly income guidelines, but they do have to meet the net income guidelines. So your net income guidelines, those are not your traditional definition of your take home after taxes. For CalFresh purposes, net income is calculated using your gross income minus your eligible deductions. And so these deductions would include shelter costs like your rent, mortgage, miscellaneous fees, taxes, premiums, utility costs like water, electricity, gas, and garbage, medical costs for those who are 60 years or older or disabled, and dependent care. And lastly, resources such as property or owning a car are not calculated against your income. So owning a home or a car will not be counted against you. I also would like to note that the average person likely cannot calculate their net income. This is a specific calculation that is done by DSS when determining your eligibility. So if you're not sure, it's still just best to apply. While talking with the senior pantry guest about CalFresh, they share that they probably don't qualify because they make too much money on paper. Should they apply? Yes. Households with at least one member who's a senior or disabled are not required to fall within the gross monthly income guidelines, and there may be a chance that they qualify based off of their net income. So it's worth applying to find out. The key is apply, and you may be eligible and not to know it. So to compare gross and net income and how they impact your CalFresh benefits, gross income is used to determine if you are eligible, and this would be the income from your work plus your self-employment, if you have any, or any unearned income to be your gross income, and that is used to determine your eligibility, versus your net income is made up of your gross income minus your eligible deductions to determine how much you would receive in CalFresh benefits. So CalFresh check-in. A pantry guest is interested in CalFresh but thinks they earn too much money to qualify. What should you do? The only true way to know whether you qualify for CalFresh is to apply. If a client is unsure if they qualify, they should review the income guidelines and who is in their household. Depending on their circumstances, they may qualify. Once again, best thing to do is encourage people to apply. So, what do monthly benefits look like? So, benefits a client may receive is dependent on their net income and their household size. So depending on the size of your household and how much you make is determined through your net, that is how much you would get for your CalFresh allotment. So the minimum allotment for a 1 to 2 person household is $23. And to the right, we have a chart with the maximum amount of allotments of benefits a household can get depending on their size. Benefits are loaded onto your EBT card at the beginning of every month. The day that your allotment is loaded onto your card is dependent on the last day of your case or last digit of your case number. So, for example, if your case number ended in the number 3, the third of the month would be the day that your benefits are loaded onto your EBT card. And benefits roll over month to month. However, if they have not been used for 9 months, they are expunged. So the key is to use your card regularly, even if it is just $1 purchase. You also don't have to worry about your EBT money being lost. Very often does not happen. Just keep using your benefits, and more than often not, people use their benefits at the beginning of the month, and there isn't that issue. Additionally, benefits do not need to be paid back. So the only time benefits would need to be paid back is in the case of an accidental overissuance. This can occur, but it doesn't happen very often. If this were to happen, you would just report to your caseworker that you got an extra amount on your deposit, and they will fix it on their end. So CalFresh check-in. A person is enrolled in CalFresh but discouraged by the amount of benefits they're receiving. How can you encourage someone to continue using their CalFresh benefits? So it can be really difficult to encourage clients that putting in the time and energy to apply for CalFresh is worth it, especially if they end up qualifying for less than what they thought. The best way to encourage clients to keep their CalFresh benefits and that it's worth it is to put it into perspective how far that dollar can stretch at the grocery store, and also to remind them that benefits don't have to be used right away and can roll over month to month. So to give an example of how far a dollar can stretch, we took a trip to the grocery store this week. and our budget is the minimum allotment of $23. So we went to Food for Less, and we were able to purchase a gallon of milk for $3.79, a dozen eggs for $4.99, a jar of peanut butter for $1.69, 2 cans of tuna for $2, a pound of apples for $1.29, 5 pounds of russet potatoes for $2.99, a loaf of bread for $2.99, 5 bananas for $1.25, and one bunch of spinach for $2.38 for our grand total of $22.18. So that really stretched. Also, I did verify that these prices were the same last night from Food for Less. So if inflation, that's another story. Anyways, a client wants to apply for CalFresh. What is the process like? So the process is like, first you need to fill out the application. So you can do this online at getcalfresh.org, in person at your local Department of Social Services, call the local DSS office, or attend a CalFresh application assistance event. So once you've submitted your application, you'll need to send in some verification documents. This can be done by when you're filling out your application, or it can be done at a later point during your interview. But it is recommended that you have all of your verification documents ready to submit beforehand, just to speed up the application process. And this can be done online through Get CalFresh, dropped off at your local Department of Social Services, or you can fax and mail them in. Okay, so you've filled out the application and you've submitted your verification forms. You'll then be contacted by your local Department of Social Services, who will schedule an interview. So this interview is solely used to determine that all of your information is correct. It also allows your caseworker to get a full picture of what your household is and to make sure that you're able to receive the max amount of benefits that you qualify for. And this interview can be done over the phone or in person. And from the time that you submit your application, you will have 30 days until you know that you are approved or denied. In emergency cases, your benefits can be expedited in as little as 3 days, and your caseworker will determine if you are eligible for this or not. But once you are approved, you will receive your EBT card and PIN in the mail to the address that you have on file, or it can be printed in-house at our DSS office. So where can you apply? Online at Get CalFresh, visit or call your local Department of Social Services, mail or fax in an application, or visit a CalFresh application assistance site. And so here we have a list of our local county offices in SLO County. They are open from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. is during their walk-in hours, and so no appointment is necessary. From 4 to 5 is when they do have appointments only, though. And so you will need some verification documents. You'll need a form of a photo of identification. This can be a driver's license, passport, work or school ID, and it also doesn't need to be a California ID. It could be out of state. It could also be a passport from another country, just something to verify that your photo and name is correct. You also need your Social Security and permanent resident card. Some documents you may need is proof of income, proof of housing expenses, proof of child support, or proof of medical expenses. Not all these documents may be needed, but they help ensure that you're receiving the max amount of benefits that you're eligible for to get the full picture of what your household is like and your expenses. So if a client cannot provide certain documentation, a written statement from the client may be accepted in place of the missing documents. So for example, a client is renting a room from a friend of a relative, but they don't have a lease. To provide proof of housing, they would write a written statement describing the situation of, I rent a room at X address for $800 a month and I pay my rent on the first of the month. And so keeping your benefits once approved. So when you're approved for CalFresh, you're approved for a given certification period. This is the amount of time a household is eligible for CalFresh based on the information you provided to the county. And during this time, you're required to complete 2 different reports, which are your semi-annual report and your annual certification. So if to the right, we have a nice graphic that helps visualize the roadmaps to keeping your benefits. So your semi-annual being the midway point and your annual certification being at the end of your certification period. And if either of these reports are not completed or returned within the time period given, this can result in the delay or discontinuation of benefits. We don't want that to happen, so we really encourage clients to make sure that they're up to date on their CalFresh case, and if there's any moves or any changes to their households, that they notify their caseworkers. So approved for benefits. So your certification period for households, for most households, is 12 months. There's also 24 months for households with only elderly or disabled members with earned income, and for 36 months for ESAP households, which are only elderly or disabled members and no earned income. So earned income in this case would be income received from a job versus unearned income would be money received from SSI, unemployment, Social Security, or state disability. And to compare the two, your annual certification is completed at the end of your certification, whether this be 12, 24, or 36 months. All households must complete their annual certification, as this is seen like you're reapplying for CalFresh to ensure that you're still eligible. And similar to when you first applied, you need to complete an interview and resubmit your verification documents. Versus your semi-annual report is completed every 6 months during your certification period. And unlike the annual certification, not all households will need to complete this. ESAP households are not required to complete a SAR 7, and this is due to less variability changing in those households, so they don't need to complete a SAR 7. And this is once again just your check-in point to report any changes that have happened in your household, whether this be someone moved out of your household or into your household, any change in income, or an address change. There's also no interview with your SAR 7, and only documents that are showing any changes to your household are needed. So if you haven't had any changes to your household, you would still complete your SAR 7, but you would report there's no changes and you're set to go. So CalFresh check-in. How can I help? How can I help a pantry or meal guest stay enrolled? So it's really important that we communicate with our clients. I know most agency partners do communicate and have great relationships with their clients. So just checking in with them and asking them, hey, how's your CalFresh going? Or have you received your SAR 7? Or do you know when your annual certification's due? And just letting them having that check-in point of, hey, maybe I should check up on that. Or did you move recently? Oh, I probably should call my caseworker. So where can you use your CalFresh benefits? So you can use your CalFresh benefits at most grocery stores. Stores will often have a SNAP or Accept EBT sticker in the front of the store. If you have any doubt, you can always ask an associate, and they're more than likely to know if they accept CalFresh. Also, stores that sell grocery items may accept CalFresh, even your non-traditional grocery stores like some convenience stores and drugstores. And this is just a few of the many stores that accept CalFresh. Key is to look for that sticker of the SNAP or EBT sticker at the door register. And once again, when in doubt, ask an associate. And so you can also use your CalFresh at farmers markets. In SLO County, we have 10 farmers markets that accept EBT. And how it works is you can find a farmers market in your area that accepts CalFresh at fmfinder.org, and you would visit the information booth to exchange your CalFresh benefits for tokens. And these tokens can be used at all of the market stands that accept CalFresh to buy fruits and veggies. And so some of our farmers markets in our county also participate in the program Market Match, which is a food incentive program that matches customers' CalFresh benefits at farmers markets. So at some of the participating farmers markets, for each CalFresh dollar that's spent, you get $2 in exchange. So most of our markets in SLO County match up to $15, with the exception of the downtown SLO Farmers Market that matches up to $10. So you would spend $15, get your match of 15, and you have $30 of spending power to buy fruits and veggies at the farmers market. And once again, you can find this at FM Finder of which farmers market in your area accept CalFresh and participate in Market Match. And here we have a list of the 10 farmers markets in our county that accept CalFresh, and those that participate in Market Match are indicated by the CalFresh logo or Market Match logo. Apologies. And so online retailers. Some of our online retailers in the area that accept CalFresh are Amazon, Instacart, Vons, Albertsons, and Walmart. I will like to note that delivery fees, service fees, and taxes are not covered by CalFresh and will require a second form of payment. For Amazon delivery, that includes Amazon.com and pickup at select Whole Foods markets. You do not need to have a Prime membership, and if you spend over $35, you get free shipping. For Instacart, they offer free delivery on your first 3 orders with a purchase of $35 or more. And you can check out which of your local Vons, Albertsons, and Walmart stores offer online purchasing with delivery. They do also offer store pickup options, but they do vary by store. And so here are some of the stores that you can use your CalFresh app for online. Through Instacart, you can purchase at Food for Less, Aldi, Food Max, Sprouts, Albertsons, and Vons. You also directly can order through Albertsons, Vons, and Walmart. And through Amazon, you can order through Amazon and Whole Foods Market. We have the restaurant meal program. So this program is specifically for individuals who do not have the ability to cook for themselves or do not have access to cook access to a kitchen to cook. It allows you to use your CalFresh benefits to buy purchase prepared meals at participating restaurants. And the eligible populations for this would be adults who are 60 years or older, disabled individuals, or unhoused individuals. If you, your caseworker would be the one to determine if you're eligible for this program, and the option to use your CalFresh card at restaurants will be activated. And so there's no need for a new or different EBT card. It is just an option that's turned on by your caseworker. And so these are some of the restaurants in SLO County that offer or that accept CalFresh. We have the Denny's in Pismo, 3 McDonald's in Paso Robles, and a McDonald's in Atascadero. And so what foods can you buy with CalFresh? So most foods are accepted, or most you can buy most foods with CalFresh. If they have a nutrition label, they often qualify. This includes spices and cooking oils. You can also buy fresh herbs and seeds to grow food, and you can check out if your local store offers seeds that you can purchase to grow plants or any fresh herbs as well. So foods that don't qualify for CalFresh include alcohol and tobacco, supplements, vitamins, and energy drinks. Even a granola bar that has a supplement nutrition fact, those won't qualify. They need to have a nutrition fact. And any hot prepared foods or foods with the intention of being consumed right away cannot be purchased with CalFresh. So this would be your rotisserie chickens or any hot foods that you purchase from the salad bar. However, if it's a pre-prepared meal with the intention of being cooked at home, those do qualify. So those pre-made Costco meals that you just need to pop in the oven, those do qualify with CalFresh. And lastly, any non-food items are not covered by CalFresh. So how can you help promote CalFresh? There are so many ways that you can help promote CalFresh. It can be as simple as providing flyers at your pantry or meal site, including a blurb in your client's newsletter, email, or text messages, post on your social media, include information about CalFresh during your client intake process, help promote a SLO Food Bank CalFresh outreach event, be a host site to a CalFresh outreach event with application assistance, or provide application assistance yourself with the training to come, and I'll provide more information on that once that's finalized. And below, you can see that we have some of our agency partners who currently have incorporated CalFresh outreach at their sites, like New Life Church and Alpha Food Pantry, doing a great job. They have our previous CalFresh application assistance event this past November on display for their clients, and as well as New Life utilizing our CalFresh totes. So host a CalFresh application assistance site. As stated in the previous slide, one way to promote CalFresh outreach is to host a CalFresh application assistance site. So previously, the SLO Food Bank coordinated CalFresh application assistance sites. These were located throughout the county at our local libraries and staffed by our lovely Department of Social Services. So the purpose of these sites was to provide a welcoming space for the community to come to get more information and help applying for CalFresh. The locations at these sites also opened up CalFresh to people who hadn't heard about it before or just happened to be in the area and decided that they wanted to apply that day. And it really met clients where they were at and helped remove the stigma or the anxiety when it comes to applying. It really helped having a smiling volunteer greet you, and as well as to have any questions that you had be able to be answered by our experts who are DSS. And so in the future, your agency could be the next location. So we have CalFresh check-in. Your organization is volunteer run. How can we help our volunteers feel confident in their ability to speak to clients about CalFresh? So feeling confident when speaking about a large program like CalFresh can be really intimidating. I speak from experience. I've really learned a lot when speaking about CalFresh, and it's sorry, it can be a lot, but it's also at the end of the day, this training and other pre-made resources are here to help you, your staff, and volunteers. You're not required to know all of the answers to every question that you're going to get. That's not the intention at the end of the day. Your goal is to encourage clients to make that first step to reach out to DSS or make that first step to put in the application. So that's really what the goal is. It's not to be the expert about CalFresh because that's not who we are. That's Department of Social Services. If you have any questions, you can direct it to them and they will be more than happy to help. So some tools to help build your CalFresh knowledge. The CalFresh Outreach Toolkit. This was recently created. It is a full toolkit outlining the CalFresh program basics, example messaging and flyers, as well as we have the Get CalFresh demo site. This was created by Code for America. It is a demo site of getcalfresh.org, and it allows you to view the application process when applying online from the client's perspective from start to finish. And lastly, you can join the CalFresh Alliance. So some of you have already joined. That's why you're here. Thank you for coming. But the CalFresh Alliance is a collective group of county organizations that are joined together in the efforts to increase CalFresh utilization, reduce barriers, and increase access to food assistance programs for food insecure residents. And so we've come to our final CalFresh check-in. Your organization is extremely excited to start CalFresh outreach. What are some next steps? So there are so many ways that your organization can help with CalFresh outreach. This can be like the ones presented in this training, whether it's speaking to clients, hosting a CalFresh application assistance site, or helping them fill out an application. Each method makes an impact. Being that trusted source who's already made that connection with the client, they take your word for truth and validity. You are that trusted source. So encouraging someone to apply really helps. You know their situation, you know who they are. And if you encourage them to know about this program or apply, they're more than likely to. So even if it's just a, hey, have you heard about CalFresh? You might qualify. You should maybe apply. That is that first step that gives someone the courage to, hey, maybe look into it. So if you are interested in hosting an application assistance site or becoming an agency partner who can offer application assistance themselves, please reach out to me. My contact is there. And at this time, I would like to open up the floor to any questions.
Thank you so much for all that information, Vanessa. And I do see a question already in the chat, so I'm going to go ahead and read it from Kathy. And it is, if you have less than 2 minutes to explain CalFresh to an eligible family, what is your elevator pitch?
Oh, I've been working on my elevator pitch. That you're really putting me on the spot there. Um, so for one, CalFresh is California's supplemental nutrition assistance program. It is monthly allotments that are in the form of an EBT card that you can use to purchase groceries at your local stores, farmers markets, and online retailers. It helps families in need get access to food. Um, yeah, that's a pretty solid one. If you have any more questions, you could go and apply online at getcalfresh.org or reach out to your local Department of Social Services.
And I see that we have a question from Kelly.
I was just going to kind of piggyback off Catherine's question, which is something like I've been working on too when assisting at CalFresh application assistance sites. And maybe wanted to put our audience to work a little bit because I know that our audience is a really diverse group of service providers and organizations. And if anybody here, look, reading Catherine's question about a CalFresh elevator pitch, you only have a quick time. If anybody here has any really great suggestions, even if it's maybe more specific to the group of population that you work with, whether that's immigrant families or unhoused folks. But any suggestions there, please pop them in the chat because we can go back and refer to that just to help everyone maybe get a more inclusive look at what we can be popping in, because it's tricky. I tried it at an application assistance site once, and I told Vanessa when I came back, I was like, I'm not sure I nailed my pitch at all, but I would like to in the future. So I am also very interested if anybody has feedback there. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Kelly. And as she said, if you have any other questions about what your pantry guests are asking you about CalFresh, please feel free to add it into the chat right now. And I see another question from Garrett.
Well, I had a question that I posted, but I just want to add one thing that I do for my elevator speech, whether it's to clients or to community members, and that is participating in CalFresh actually helps our local economy. It's money that goes back to the federal government in the form of taxes that comes from our community, and then it only gets back to our community when people engage in CalFresh. And so whether you're somebody that's paying taxes and you want to see that money come back and invest in our community, or you're somebody that's paying taxes and also needs that benefit, you're helping our local community. The question that I posted below is, I see we've got some of our great partners from DSS on the call, and we started off with the low rate of participation in our community, and I was wondering if they could share with us a little bit of what's their goal in terms of participation in our community, and other than the ways that we talked about here, how can these thoughtful hunger relief partners on this call help you with your goal?
I can take that one, if you don't mind. Hello, everyone. My name is Rob Cook. I'm from the Department of Social Services. I'm the CalFresh Program Manager, and I work with Vanessa and Andrea and so on and so forth, other members of the CalFresh Alliance. And to answer your question, Garrett, thankfully, it's not just the Department of Social Services that's taken this on. We have the CalFresh Alliance, and there is a lot of energy there to get the word out. So from the state's perspective, so we're governed by the United States Department of Agriculture, Food and Nutrition Service, and then of course they pass on the administration to the state, California Department of Social Services, and then they pass it on to the counties. So for the state's direction, they want us to, of course, make sure that we have CalFresh access and CalFresh awareness. So we work with our partners with the CalFresh Alliance to increase awareness. And we work with, of course, California Department of Social Services to increase access. And we are audited every couple of years, and they do come to our offices and make sure that we are doing our part to make access to CalFresh available here in San Luis Obispo County. We are not required to have a percentage. So when we talk about participation rate, we're talking about pre-pandemic numbers. And I have a good feeling that our participation rate has increased, but those numbers have not been published since the pandemic. The state does not require a participation rate to be a specific percentage. So with that in mind, we just work with CalFresh Alliance to increase, as I said, access and awareness. And I think it's great to point out that we've been talking about getcalfresh.org. It's a very quick and easy application. It's about 10 minutes. You can help someone walk through the application on the phone, on the computer, on a tablet, or for the next couple months, they can call their local DSS office and talk to us. We can take an application over the phone. Because of the pandemic, we do have the ability to do that, to take an application for CalFresh over the phone and take a telephonic signature. So that's a big assistance right now. So I would just say for all the partners on the call today, just consider reaching out to DSS, give us a call, or go on Get CalFresh to submit an application. And big shout out to Vanessa. She's doing a great job at coordinating these application assister events, and we have a lot more scheduled coming up, thanks to some ARPA funding. And DSS is going to be there to provide the application assisters and, of course, training and information program support as needed.
Thank you, Rob. We really appreciate your partnership here and the continued support, and also duplicate all of the thanks that you've been given, and we're very grateful for the other agencies that are here to help extend CalFresh and expand its access and utilization within the county. And then our next question is from Carmen Garcia.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon now. Two questions. My first one, the income requirements or guidelines, are they the same for every county, or is this specific to SLO County?
They're the same for every county, and they're actually the same federally across the United States.
Great, thank you. And then my second question, I don't think I've seen any Spanish CalFresh brochures. I don't know if there are any available that we might be able to carry with us for opportunities to give those out when we're doing outreach. And then also, if there are any Spanish brochures, do they specify on there that, what was the term you guys used? Something about public charge? Is that on there? Because I feel like that's a deterrent to a lot of, at least the Spanish speaking community that I work with.
So the SLO Food Bank hasn't made any brochures. We do have plenty of flyers. I do also have a specific flyer for non-citizens and immigrants. It does have a section regarding public charge, but I can connect you with those resources after this.
Great, thank you.
And just wondering, Vanessa, is that something that we can include in the email that has all of this information along with it? Perfect.
Actually, if you join the CalFresh Alliance, you get access to our SharePoint that has tons of resources for CalFresh, including flyers, social media, and up-to-date information.
Do you have a link to the CalFresh Alliance kind of registration that you can drop in the chat?
Yes, let me pull that up real quick.
Oh, and Brenda, thank you for joining us, Brenda. And yeah, Vanessa is on it right now. All right. Are there any other questions at this time regarding CalFresh? Okay. I'm going to stall a little as we get that link from Vanessa. But in the meantime, I want to encourage a lot of agency partners, if you have any questions, if you have anything that comes up while you're interacting with either a pantry guest or maybe someone at your meal site, put Vanessa's phone number in your phone. She's great at texting. She's great at phone calls. Think of her as your CalFresh guru for anything like that. And just reach out to her for anything that you might need, again, regarding CalFresh. As you guys know, I am Susie Freeman. I'm the Partner Services Manager, and Kelly Boycourt is also here helping to facilitate this behind the scenes. And thank you, Vanessa. She was able to put that registration link to the CalFresh Alliance in the chat. So please go ahead and fill that out if you're interested. And also, please go ahead and make a mention in the chat now if you're interested in doing any sort of CalFresh assistance sites or additional outreach. We will also be sending out more information about that CBO training to the group that attended today. Once that becomes available, we're still in talks to figure out exactly when that will be. And I think with that, to the next slide, please. So this concludes our learning webinar number 2, and I wanted to announce to our agency partners that the next learning webinar will be in April on Thursday, April 13th. It will be another lunch hour learning opportunity, and this one will be all about food rescue in SLO County. So very excited to dig into the details there and let everyone know how they can engage more with either local generators. So these are like grocery stores or other perhaps restaurants and whatnot to get more food accessible and available to their pantries. And I see a question from Kelly Boycourt.
Yes, I just wanted to make sure we caught Eloisa's question from the
Perfect. Thank
chat.
you so much.
Yeah, so
I was on a roll really quick.
I
Eloisa, I'm going to go ahead and read your question. We work with Latino cancer patients. The majority of them do not have legal status, and because they are receiving treatments, what resources are available for them? Vanessa.
I would like to punt that question to Rob, who is the expert about the non-citizen qualifications for CalFresh.
I'm sorry. Can you ask that question again? I was already
Oh, no worries.
multitasking. Forgive me.
Yeah. So it sounds like Eloisa works a lot with those that are not of legal status. It sounds like there's some medical needs as well. Her full question is actually in the chat if you're more of a visual person than an auditory one.
And basically, a lot of them are receiving treatment, and so they're not able to work. So therefore, in terms of food, they're very limited, and so sometimes they don't have the energy to go to the food sites where they distribute or food distribution. So what other resources do you have available for these community members?
Through CalFresh, there is no resource that's going to be able to meet that particular need.
Okay.
There, if they do qualify for CalFresh, they can have an alternate card holder who could use their EBT card to get groceries for them and bring it back to their home. But there is no CalFresh sponsored delivery service.
But I think that you said that they have to have a legal status, correct? So the patients that or the community members that I work with don't have a legal status.
So we have, so citizenship requirements for CalFresh, there are a few categories. We have of course, our citizens, and then we have our non-citizen eligible families and participants, and we have no eligibility for undocumented citizens. So when you think about eligible non-citizens, you're thinking about those that maybe are humanitarian parolees, those that are legal permanent residents. Those can qualify for CalFresh, but without any documentation, if they're undocumented citizens, then they do not qualify for CalFresh. We have a California food assistance program that is working on expanding to include undocumented citizens, and that's going to land maybe in 2024, I think is what the state's targeting as a implementation date. But for now, the resources are limited, as I've described.
Thank you.
Eloise, I do want to let you know that there are a lot of other food resources outside of CalFresh as well. I'd be happy to connect with you. We have a number of nonprofits that actually do sometimes home delivery, depending on the circumstances. I know we actually have our own senior home delivery program as well. So I'm happy to chat with you afterwards to kind of share exactly what's available in that realm that might be accessible to the folks that you work with.
Okay, that would be awesome. Thank you.
And then I do see Chelsea's question in the chat. I think Kelly was going to get to that. So Chelsea, that is correct. So if there is a child in the household who has legal status but their parents are non-citizens, they do qualify for CalFresh, but it would be that child that qualifies for CalFresh. So the amount of benefits that they get would only be for that one particular person who is a U.S. citizen.
All right. Well, again, thank you all so much. So grateful for all the work that you guys are doing, whether it's through CalFresh or Pantry or Meal Site, Recovery Home, or what have you. Really honored to work alongside of all of you. And thank you again, Vanessa, for a very thorough and comprehensive rundown of CalFresh and also other ways that a lot of our agencies can help connect those that they serve with those resources. So again, we will send out all the slide deck here, a recording of this, and be able to connect with you folks again in the future. So again, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you all.
Thank you.